Hey, Barry Schaefer here, founder and director of Inward Resources. Think for a second about the last time that you waited in a long, hot, boring line for a new roller coaster. Finally, you ride the coaster. The ride lasts about 3 minutes. You've waited in line about 100 minutes. But in those 3 minutes, you have pushed every boundary of physics. And when the coaster comes to a stop, you're out of breath, you get out of your coaster car with shaky legs, and you get right back in line. You know that line is now going to be worth the wait. Well, our faith journey is sort of like that. Life can feel like that long, hot line as we endure everything that this fallen world throws at us. But there is a great reward waiting at the end. This is described in 2 Corinthians 4 in the Message version this way. These hard times are small potatoes compared to the coming good times, the lavish celebration prepared for us. Of course, it's easy to forget that celebration is waiting on us. Obviously, He reminds us through Scripture about our reward. But every once in a while, He mercifully pokes through the veil and He shows us. A few years ago, when I was in my epicenter of grief and widowhood, after losing my wife Dana to cancer, I took a retreat in a cabin in the mountains. As I was processing my grief, I found myself asking a question: how would Dana comfort me if she knew how much I was hurting? Well, I ran with that mental exercise, and as things came to my mind that were a bit unusual, I began to take notes. Here's a snippet from that conversation. Barry, about your heartache and your pain. I've seen where this all leads, and it really doesn't matter how much you hurt. In fact, just to stress the point, I won't even waste time trying to comfort you. I see the forever. It's real. It's worth the pain. Well, that was not what I was expecting. And a couple days later, I hiked a trail that was a 1-hour boring switchback trail, but it ended in a breathtaking overlook. I stayed at that overlook for over an hour, processing that conversation and the concept that all of our suffering will be worth it. As I hiked back down from the overlook, I passed a couple other hikers on their way up. In a nod to the boring switchback trail, they asked, "How far to the overlook?" I shared that they were about halfway. They took a couple of steps and then they yelled back, "Is it worth it?" I love telling them how worth it will be. But it wasn't until I got to the end of the trail that it dawned on me what had just happened. I realized that God had just given me a huge exclamation point, validating my conversation from a couple days earlier. The reward at the end will be worth the pain of the journey. I share this to give you hope, to give you a report from someone who has already ridden the ride while we wait in the long, hot line of life. The promise and the prospect of heaven is very real. We can count on a lavish celebration so incredible that all that we are experiencing now will appear as a funny little blip. Thanks for taking a moment to check in. I pray that this thought is as helpful for you as it has been for me. Thank you.